Hi, welcome to Charter Oak Fiberworks. This is a podcast about knitting and spinning and all things fiber here in New England, where I live with my family. I am Claire, and you can find me on Instagram, where I am the most active and the most likely to reply to anything, as Clarissa Jo Knits. Or you can find me on Ravelry as Clarissa Jo. I'm not as active on Ravelry, but I'm trying to get better. I am recording late this week. I have been sick. Last week it was my birthday, and on my birthday I got a stomach bug. So I have been in bed for like a week, not a week, for 3 days, and then it was ski lesson day for my kids. And so here I am finally getting around to recording, and I have a cold now, so I apologize for all my sniffling and that I sound slightly stuffed up. Anyway, so this will probably be a short one. I don't have a ton to show you. Oh, my chair is like spinning away from the camera. I have to hold myself in place. So I apologize for any of my sniffling, or if I have to blow my nose. This will be short, I promise. Okay, so let's just jump in with my finished objects this week. I have 2 finished objects. The first one that I finished is scoot closer, then I can use my legs to hold me in place. The first one I finished is a hat that I kind of made up the pattern, kind of didn't. I was at a meeting. And I finished the project I was working on, and I had like yarn and needles in my bag, right? So I'm like, I might as well cast on something, because I still have to sit through the rest of this meeting, right? And you don't want to just sit through a meeting with nothing to do. So I just cast on and did a ribbed brim just to keep it interesting as I was sitting there. And then I came home and I looked through Andrea Ringel's Colorwork Stitch Dictionary, alternates, and found this one. It is the Celtic one, and then I just added the colorwork, decreased at the top, and added a pom-pom so that it could go into the Wool Needles Hands Year of Hats knit along. Her January was a pom-pom. This month is knit for someone in the opposite sex or someone that you love. I think I'm going to do an Olympic hat for my son for this month's knit along. All right, so that's my hat. I used Patton's Aran weight yarn. It's the singles that are kind of roving like, and size 8 needles to kind of give me a denser fabric. I cast on 64 at the bottom, did a 2x2 rib, and then this is a 8-stitch colorwork pattern with a stitch in between. Yes, I think so. So I think in this row I decreased down 1 to get to 63 stitches. And then I just took it in at the top with just a normal general decrease and added my pom-pom. So there you go. There's my hat. I have finished my SELBU Mittens. This is a pattern by Ellie from Skeindeer Knits. It was such a nice pattern to follow. On my second mitten, I knew what was going on, and so I could read my pattern a little bit better, less mistakes in it. I used magic loop to make it. I usually use double pointed needles and everything, but with the yarn and all of the needles and everything like that, it was a lot. So I switched to magic loop, and it ended up working for me. So I'm glad I tried magic loop. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Here are my floats inside. The white is Patton's worsted in their white creamy color. And then this purple is a hand spun that I made. It is a merino spun to a 3-ply, a chain ply that I did. So look at the detail, even the thumb lines up with the pattern on the inside. And then it has, it's just a really great pattern. It is written really well. It's easy to follow. By the second mitten, I could read my knitting pretty well, so I knew what was coming and I didn't have to refer to the pattern as much as I did the first mitten, and it went a lot faster. So I'm really excited those are off the needles. I wore them yesterday. I have not blocked them yet. So they are, I haven't washed and blocked them. So there's still a little bit of puckering and gapping and weird things. That'll come out when I wash them. The yarn will bloom, my stuff that I spun, it will puff up and fill in those gaps and they will be perfect. But I didn't have time to do that because I wanted to show them on the podcast and I wanted to wear them yesterday. So there they are. Okay, let's talk about my whips. I have 2 whips this week. I feel like I'm missing one, so maybe something's lost somewhere. Inside my sock bag for my socks, I am still working on Hermione's Everyday Socks. I have one done. And I am on the hill of my second sock. I'm hoping to finish these in the next 2 days, which I know sounds like a lot, but maybe I can get enough knitting to get done. I have another sock project I have to start, and I don't want to have 2 socks going at the same time. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So here's this. It calls for a partridge hill. Eye of the partridge? I can't remember. Anyway, on both my socks, I didn't want to look it up and learn a new hill because I was just being lazy. So I just went to my slip stitch heel flap gusset that I use on almost all my socks. It's the same one Volenvine uses in her favorite sock pattern. So if you want a pattern to look up for how to do that, that's a good one. But yeah, there's my socks. I think, so this is, my yarn is 100 Ravens yarn, and it is the Birds of Prey colorway. But I think with the texture and the color of these socks, I feel like they look like dragons. Like you can't see it really in the camera, but there's the green in here, this part, it just is shiny. It shines. And then with the texture, they look like scales. I don't know. They remind me of dragons. And it might be that 100 Ravens Yarns was doing like a dragon theme this year for some of their special yarns, which this is not one of those. But yeah, I love it. They're coming along so nice. I'm hoping to get a good chunk of them done today and then finish them up tomorrow for my next. Okay, my next whip is in my dandelion bag. I have a new pin on it that I got from the Woolly Thistle. Oh. Isn't that cute? All right, so my next whip is the Springtime Shawl. And I'll put the information down at the bottom because I don't remember who designed it and I don't even remember if that's the name, but I'll add it in. All right, here is the beginning. It is a 3-color shawl using fingering weight yarn on size 6 needles. So okay, let me see if I can tell you what all my yarn is for this and then tell you how I picked it. So I've been trying to do a little bit of stash busting. I noticed I have a shelf downstairs that I keep my yarn in that is still all in the like skeins, right? And I have a shelf underneath that I keep all of my tools, and then it has a basket that has all of my balls of yarn. and kind of my leftovers from previous projects for me to grab and use. So I noticed that my basket is getting kind of full, and I was like, oh, I need to do some stash busting projects to kind of get this down to reasonable. It makes me anxious to have a large stash, and so I try to only buy yarn for things that I know I have a project in mind for, and I try to move through my projects fairly quickly and keep things kind of in order, because if I have too many things going on, it kind of stresses me out a little bit. So I noticed that I had some leftovers from socks and stuff like that, and I wanted a finger and white shawl. So of course I go on Ravelry and go through all their filters and find a finger white shawl using multiple colors, and I found this this springtime shawl. And so I pulled out all of my balls of sock yarn, and I pulled out my scale, and I measured them because it wanted 25 grams for the first color, 50 for the second, and 75 for the next color. So I just measured all of my balls of yarn, and the ones that fit in those categories are what I'm making my shawl out of. So the first color is this, and I can't even tell you what this is. This is the oldest, oh, you know what? There is a tag in there. This is the oldest yarn that I have in my stash. This is really exciting. There is a tag in the middle of this, so I can tell you what it is. I used this to make a hippo 8 years ago. It is Bristol, oh, it's a Plymouth Yarn Company 1, cotton and silk blend. So that is my first color, and it just has a color lot, 107, it's Plymouth yarn. That must mean I picked it up at Webb's. Oh. Anyway, so that's the oldest stash. That's the oldest yarn I have in my stash, and I'm using it up. So this ball is now small enough. I'll probably keep it around just in case I need toes and heels, maybe cuffs out of it. My second yarn is from Molly Girl, and it's what I'm using right now, and it's Party at a Rich Dude's House or something like that. And then my last one, and I don't remember the colorway of this, but it is from Green Mountain Spinnery. And I'm hoping they'll work together, because I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of blue speckles in this green, and then my pink, and then the blue. And I kind of wish I'd had enough blue to go like this, because that maybe would have tied them together better, but this is what my weight came out, and I think they're going to work. We'll see. Anyway, I think this will make a good spring summer shawl. It's coming out very drapey and light, and it has the beautiful eyelet lace in here. So anyway, there is my springtime shawl. It's going to be put away probably for a little bit, as I have other things I need to work on that I can tell you about right now. So I am doing a test knit for Wool Needles Hands, Taylor at Wool Needles Hands podcast, and she is a yarn dyer for Fiber for the People. So she has these socks. She's calling them the cocktail socks. And they're a DK weight, like house sock. Anyway, and I'm test knitting for her, which is really exciting. It's my first test knit, and I'm really excited to make them. So I had to buy yarn, which brings me into my next thing. Anyway, that's my test knit, and that's gonna be my focus after I'm done with my socks. Or not. On Tuesday, I'm just going to start them because I have to have them done by March 5th. So, yeah. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and I'm really excited. So let me tell you about my stash acquisitions for this 2 weeks. I was so excited when Once Upon a Corgi posted that she was having a trunk show, pop-up show night with Fuse Fiber Studios in the town literally next door to mine. And I feel like this stuff never happens in my area. So I was so excited to go. So she had her open studio night and knit night, and this is her Fuse Fiber Studios yarn. This is Merino DK. It's a superwash merino wool, and it is called Rosewood, and the color is just so peachy and delicate. It's got yellows and browns and pink and peach, and it's so squishy. I mean, I feel like, I mean, you get it a little bit with fingering weight yarn, but once you're up in like DK and worsted and you squish it, oh. So these are what I'm going to make my, the socks, the cocktail socks out of, is this color. So look for that on my Instagram, because I'll be posting as I go along making them. Oh, I'm so excited. Once Upon a Corgi was there, which is how I learned about it. And so I picked up some sock fingering yarn. It is a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. Can you see the sparkle in that? So this is called La Dame Death. La Dame, I don't know. La Dame Death. Go like this. It is soft pinks with browns and bright pinks, and it is beautiful. Lots of pink today. Anyway, so that was awesome. So I got to meet them, and I'm excited to know that I have a dyer just like right down the road from me. So I'll probably be back and gain a lot from Fuse Fiber Studios, a lot. Super, super excited. It was so fun, met tons of wonderful people. We got to hang out and knit, and it's so nice to be around other fiber people that are just as excited about fiber as I am, so we can talk about patterns and colors and dyers, and everyone kind of knows what you're talking about, and that is so nice. So I was so excited to meet everybody. I met some people off of my Instagram feed that I'd never met before, and we all shared funny stories about different things. Campfire Knit was there, or Campfire Knitting. I'll put it down here. She was there, and she shared that she had gone to Phantom of the Opera 2 just recently in Boston, and her retelling of it is hilarious. So it was a lot of fun to hang out. Last weekend was my birthday, and my parents got me some blacker yarn from the Woolly Thistle, and it is the Gotland. It's a DK weight, and it has this shine to it that I'm so excited. I'm going to make some fingerless mitts with oak leaves on them for my Charter Oak Fiberworks podcast. I'm excited to use this because my maiden name is Blacker. So my dad thought it was kind of fun to get me some blacker yarn from, it's British wool, and my family is from England and Wales. So it was fun it's fun to get some yarn and kind of feel like I have a little bit of a connection to it. Anyway, I like that. So that is what I have been working on for the last 2 weeks, and what I plan to kind of work on for the next little bit. I don't know how to maybe add this section in. I wanted to be able to add into my podcast a little bit of me talking about what we're doing and some of the personal things not personal really, but just some things that are going on. So the latest big thing going on in our house right now, besides the Olympics, because that's huge, but it is The Greatest Showman. Have you guys seen The Greatest Showman? It was amazing. It was amazing in the theater. We saw it 3 times in the theater. My son is obsessed with Zac Efron and Zendaya, and now Hugh Jackman, which I find really funny because it's Hugh Jackman, and I love that my son likes him. So we have been listening to the album non-stop at our house, and loud, and even right now, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's my daughter is singing A Million Dreams. The music's not on, she's just singing at the top of her lungs in her room. So we love it. If you guys have not listened to the album yet, I don't know if the movie is still in theaters. I think it's coming out in the spring. We are definitely going to own it at our house. But if you guys have not listened to the music yet, go listen to the music. It's amazing. Yeah, that's one of our new favorite things. So, thank you for listening to me babble on for 30 minutes about all of the things that I'm knitting and working on in fiber, and then some of my, adding like my favorite things at the end there. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks. Bye.